Yo, what up, people of Earth? What's up, friends? Familia? People I don't know? What's up, haters? What's up, all y'all? Welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. This show is all about philosophy and, deeper thoughts. Understanding the universe, politics, commentary, all that good stuff. And if you're returning, thanks for returning. If you're a person that's subscribed, thanks for subscribing. And let's get on with it. So today I wanted to talk about relationship compromise. Right, so this is for all the lovers and would-be lovers and people that are in relationships. Obviously, if you're in a successful relationship, then maybe you're doing everything right. But sometimes relationships are hard work because it is a compromise. That's right. Imagine living with someone, sharing your life with that person. Most people are like, yeah, that's awesome. I love this person. I want to be with this person all the time. But do you? I mean, from my perspective, I think that you should be in a relationship with somebody you love and care about, and that makes a good, completes you in a way that nothing else can. Now, that's in a good situation. But the thing is that there's a lot of bad situations out there. There's a lot of people that are in relationships when they probably shouldn't be, but they stay in those relationships because of whatever, because of all kinds of other reasons, or because they just don't have the balls to leave. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody has their own reasons and feelings and all that stuff. So we have to get to the point where we recognize that it's going to be a compromise. Every day is a compromise. When your significant other wants to go one place and you want to go to another place, or eat dinner or something, or whatever the choice may be, or whatever there's decisions to be made, you have to compromise. There are people out there that just steamroll over their competition and never let that happen. So those are the the overbearing parents, or the person that's in the relationship that's overbearing, who always controls everything, and the only way that one person could be overbearing and controlling is just the other person let them be that way. That's really what it is. So we have to, understanding that, everything is a compromise. You just realize that, okay? You go to work, right? And the compromise is that you come, you show up, you do a good job, and you get paid. That's the compromise. All right? We got to make compromises in this world. Everything is a compromise. So being able to negotiate, whether that's a business transaction or some sort of deal or negotiation, I mean, it's all compromise. Life is a trade. It's like, okay, you trade money for goods or services, and vice versa, or you trade services for goods, and whatever. Any way you look at it, everything is a compromise. And that being said, relationships are definitely a compromise, and it's probably one of the bigger compromises you'll have to deal with. That's why we're talking about it right now. In relationships, like in my relationship, I have a relationship, right? And I got a relationship. My situation is it's always been kind of weird, and the thing is that I don't fail shit tests. That's the thing. But by not failing the shit tests in my relationship, I technically failed the shit test. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But the resolve is this: what is my understanding of failure in that situation? Okay, if the shit test is to see how much money I'll spend on something for no reason, for frivolous things, Um, when I don't spend money on frivolous things, I win, but I fail the shit test. You see what I'm saying? Like, but in my mind, I don't care about the other way of winning or losing. I'm only worried about it from my perspective. And that's the way people are, right? We only worry about things from our own perspective. So, right there, we have to realize that this is a framework for compromise, right? If everybody does what they want from their own perspective, then we have to realize that if we want the best out of certain people and we want good results from certain people, we have to be willing to meet those people on their level, whether that's higher, lower, sideways, or whatever. We have to be willing to compromise. Like when you talk to a child, you're compromising right off the bat. When you change your voice from this stern type of like adult conversation to, oh no, what you have to do is just get that big old balloon and blow it up real good. When you do that, the second you start changing your voice or modulating how your speech pattern is or anything like that, you're already compromising. You've compromised so that you can, in essence, meet your audience or whatever in a capacity that you know makes sense to them. You're compromising. So the same has to be true in our relationships. We have to compromise the whole way through it. Now, I think when relationships start to fall apart, it's because certain people don't feel that they need to compromise anymore or shouldn't compromise or are just sick of compromising. And this happens. This is when you get tired. When you get tired in a relationship, where you're just like, when that relationship just ends and it's like, oh man, you guys were together for so long. You guys were so good. Like, what happened? It's like, we just couldn't make it work. We just had those differences or whatever. That's basically what that is the inability to articulate what I'm saying here, which is we just got tired of compromising. And there's little levels of identity politics that go into it too, because when you're a man, you play the identity politics like women are crazy. But when you're a girl, you play the identity politics that men are all crazy, right? So, whether you want to admit it or not, everybody does it. It's just the truth. I do it, you do it, we all do it. So just be honest about it, okay? We're all playing these little level, like, subtle games of identity politics, and to a certain extent, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, the guy in the relationship is going to be the one who kind of we expect to chop the wood, But I expect that the kid's going to run right to the mom when the kid gets a scraped knee or something, right? Those little identity games are fine because they play off of the true facts of what is reality, right? So in that aspect, I wouldn't call it identity politics per se. I would just say that it's just identifying a person's strengths or weaknesses and being able to understand how that correlates in the world. So what is it that I mean by all that anyway? These little identity politic games and stuff like this. Well, it's like, you do it on a micro level, right? Not on a macro. We're not doing identity politics against religion, people, or races, or any of that stuff. We're talking about the small micro level identity politics that we play with each other, that we love and know and are close to. Right? You're like, you're always so fucking lazy. You're always, you never do this, or you always leave the bowl up, or, like you can never rinse off your dishes. These are all little identity games that we play with each other. Think about it. Yeah, think about it. If you get known as the Chicken Little, the sky is falling, people are always going to identify you as the sky is falling, Same here with the guy who doesn't do the dishes, or the person who's always smelling, or the person that never cleans up after themselves, or makes a mess everywhere they go. Those are little, you start to get the sense of, wow, this is that person's identity, right? And then you start playing against that avatar, so to speak, because that's really what happens when you start generalize, when you create an identity picture about someone. You're basically using caricaturized generalizations. Yeah, it sounds a little abstract if you're not paying attention, but if you are, you're going to get some meat out of this, right? The concept that I'm portraying here is that is rather than basically, rather than accepting people on the merit of what they produce each day or whatever, or what it is that they're capable of each day, we end up stereotyping those people, and we end up fabricating things in our mind and projecting certain things. It is identity politics. It's the same aspect, or the same bureau in our brain that plays the identity politics is also doing this here, and it could be fucking up our relationships if we let it manifest. So how do we get to the point where where we stop, where we don't give up and we don't get overwhelmed? Well, one of the ways we can combat this is that we can be very open with our communication. Okay, one of the big problems, logistical problems of compromising, is that people don't communicate properly what it is that they expect or want or desire, or what it is they feel about certain things. Like, when your girlfriend, here's that old line, right? When your girlfriend asks you, does this shirt make me look fat? Or do these pants make me look fat, or whatever? They're asking you a hyper-specific question, and if you answer it, you're fucked. And if you don't answer it, you're fucked. So basically, you're fucked, right? This is the way, this is stereotypical guy-girl relations. It's like, okay, they're going to put you in a position that you never set up, you're never part of, and all of a sudden you're going to be the culprit regardless. There's no way to answer the question properly without possibly hurting that person that asks you. So the fact is, that person shouldn't even ask you in the first place. It's kind of silly, because they know that they look fat in that fucking shirt or pants or whatever. So they're asking you a rhetorical question, but if you answer, you're fucked. So what do? Oh, it's rhetorical, so I should just think about it then? I shouldn't actually say anything? I don't know. But anyway, that it's in itself is a compromise. As guys, we have to compromise in that aspect. Like, we have to compromise with the opposite sex, and there's logistical issues that differentiate us, and that in itself is another compromise. Guys require big manly food, and they make smells and sounds and all this stuff, and girls are need makeup and expensive lingerie stuff, and there's always a compromise. See, guys will spend their money on certain things, girls will spend their money on certain things, but they'll probably end up spending about the same equivalent, but just from their perspective, this is more valuable, and from this person's perspective, this is more valuable. I would never buy makeup, so I don't understand how a person could have a $150 Mac bill, not the computer Mac, but Mac the makeup. I don't know how anybody could have a bill that big, because to me, there's no value in buying makeup. But to the person that holds the value, you see. But the thing is that if I'm in a relationship with somebody who values that makeup to where they'd spend $150 on a bill there, and I don't value that, I don't ever anticipate spending that kind of money on makeup, right? So right there in itself, I have to compromise. I have to compromise in my level of thought and be empathetic, so to speak, to see it from that person's perspective, what it is that is why they like that. Now, if you can do this in a relationship, this will help you avoid some of the biggest issues. Now, here's the caveat. Both people in the relationship have to be willing to do this, not just one. See, if you're in a relationship and you're the only one compromising, it's going to get tiresome very quick. You may have a good, you may have a good temperament. You may be able to make it last long. You may be patient, but eventually you're going to snap, and it's probably not going to be good. So I highly recommend that you think about it from that perspective. If you're unwilling to compromise, then you probably shouldn't be in a relationship in the first place. And that's fine. There are a lot of people that are better single than they are in relationships. And you know, if you're over 30, you probably know who you are by now. But that doesn't mean that's always going to be the way. I mean, you know, when I started my 30s, I just wanted to, you know, go out and do stuff. But now I'm almost 40, and, you know, my son's getting older and everything. And honestly, I just enjoy, you know, being around him and being in a family setting and kind of being chilled out, you know, where things actually matter more. You know, like when you go out and party and stuff, people don't give a fuck about you. Sure, you may have like a whole group of people that you party with like every weekend, like I did. But those people don't care about you. Where are they now? Like, you know, it's like, so your life is going to change. You're going to compromise with your own, you know, stuff. You know, you're going to be 30 now, and you're going to be like, no, this is dead set the way it is. And then by the time you're 35, you're going to start compromising on that and being like, you know what, maybe I was a little too rigid or a little too ignorant about this, and now I understand it from a different perspective, and now I can compromise a little bit more on my morals or my thoughts or whatever. That's all I'm saying. So not only is it just good for relationships with, you know, your personal relationships, but also like your interpersonal relationships and just like dealing with people. And this world is full of people, so it bodes well to be able to communicate effectively with people. So I recommend being able to compromise over everything. You may be upset about something right off the bat. Give it a couple minutes, think about it, and then see how you feel then. And if you still feel pretty shitty about something or you don't like an idea, think about it again or ask that person to explain it. You know, if you're just not able to get it, your grasp over it, be like, why did you spend $150 on... This didn't happen, by the way, and I don't care. But like, why would you spend that much money on this when to me it's stupid? You know, it's like, well, to me it's not. Like, you know, I needed these things. These are going to cover me for the whole year. Oh, okay. Now I know that you're not going to be spending $150 every 2 weeks, right? This is your whole year's worth of stuff. Got it. You know, like when you start compromising and you start trying to understand, then you can get better results out of all of your, you know, all of life's equations. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm suggesting. Anyway, what do you think? How does compromising help you in your life? If it's worth it, write it down below. Let's talk. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you in the next video. And share me, like me, sub. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos. I've been producing pretty regularly lately, and I think just going to keep going with it. As long as nobody makes fun of me in this car cast office. Don't worry, I do have an office. It's just so much infinitely easier and better for me to do it this way. These types of philosophical conversations this way. But that doesn't mean that I don't have produced content and more coming, by the way. I have a lot of big stuff coming. But in the meantime, these are just kind of like in the betweens. So, that being said, compromise, love your lover, and be good. All right, peace.